Today on Kicks Chronicles, we talk life and kicks with writer and sneaker historian KIERAN COYLE. As someone that's written countless articles for various brands and companies in the game, and somebody with a fairly unique perspective considering his background, we get his take on sneakers and the culture at large. We also talk Kieran's collection and his love for the Larry Johnson Cons AeroJam and AeroJet. And lastly, we ask him what 2 pairs of kicks he would take with him if he was stranded on a desert island. Yes, people, this is Kicks Chronicles. Roll it, roll it. Yes, my people, big ProZECH once again, and you know what it is, man. It's your sneaker and lifestyle podcast, Kicks Chronicles. As I said, I'm your boy ProZECH. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you tuning in, watching, listening, however you're getting the podcast, however you listen or view the podcast. Absolutely appreciate it. And I'm going to follow up that thank you with another thank you for everyone that managed to lock in to our recent episode with Doogie Santiago. The Croc King himself was in the piece and he did not disappoint. Very, very cool guy, an actual legend, unofficial Guinness World Record holder as well. You get me? With over 3,000 pairs, he did his thing and was an absolute gentleman the whole time. So yeah, if you didn't manage to catch that episode, make sure to go and catch that episode. Okay, people. Before we get into our guest this week, I just wanted to have a quick chat because, yeah, man, your boy's been outside a little small this week. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that happened. You get me? This week I actually managed to get the invite from Franklin Boating, aka the King of Trainers, friend of the show, friend of the podcast. He invited man down to the DOTYs, which is the drop of the year. It was hosted by him and none other than the legendary, like, he's just a legendary legend. He's a guy. He's one of them guys. You get me? Cash. You get me? So when you got an event hosted by the King of Trainers and Cash, by the way, a lot of K's in there, Kicks Chronicles as well. You get me? Like, it's a very big deal. I'm saying, I have to tell you guys, it's a very big deal, and I was honored to get that invite and meet up with those guys. It was a great night. It was really cool. The DOTYs are essentially where we look over the last year and go through a top 10. It's voted by people. We give out awards and things of that nature. Essentially, it's like a little award ceremony. Like, nothing too ostentatious or pretentious. It's real low-key and calm, but it's a very, very nice event. And obviously, for someone like myself, great for networking. And I managed to speak to a few people and get a few more guests because, you know, your boy stays hustling, you get me? Like, but it was lovely to see a few familiar faces. All in all, a lovely event. Very, very cool energy, very cool space. And yeah, love to get invited to come down to that. It's going to probably be happening every year. So yeah, real nice moment for me to be in that environment. In addition to that, we actually managed to pick up a few kicks this week. You get me? And one I've been talking about for a little while, so I'm actually glad. And some of you may, if you're watching, might be able to see. Right, first and foremost, we managed to cop the Jordan Bred Reimagines. Now, these dropped on the 17th of March. I copped via Offspring raffle, so shout out to Offspring. You get me? I don't know, but I think that officially means I'm part of the Offspring HQ community. You get me? And yeah, I'm on Jess. Just shout me, you get me? If you need anything, just shout me, you get me, man? You didn't have to do all this. You get me? I'm joking. They didn't. I doubt they did anything. But shout out to them, man. They're obviously doing a great thing and bigging up the community as well. So yeah, I actually took the time to go to the King's Cross branch, took my little girl, took the princess down on her first pickup. You get me? Like, so yeah, we went down. Very, very smooth process. a lovely experience. You get me? They had set up a little sort of activation there, and it was just lovely. They had a magazine, they had a little bag as well. I got the bag over here. You get me? Like the whole nine. Breaking bread is what they called it. Breaking bread, little magazine in there. You get me? Like very, very cool settings. So cool, in fact, that once we got the shoes and we looked over and everything was cool, and we actually just stayed and had lunch. You know, when you're rolling with a toddler, you have to be ready for that sort of thing. And the environment was so smooth. We just said, you know what, let's catch up here as well. So yeah, everything was real sweet. Shout out to Ruddy. I wanted to shout him out personally in the King's Cross branch. Yeah, he's just a very, very cool guy, and he helped me out on picking up my Offspring community hat as well. So shout out to Big Ruddy over there at Offspring. You get me? I have to be honest very, very quickly in terms of this shoe, in terms of the bread reimagined. Yeah, the shoe's a banger. It's all that, right? The materials are fantastic. The comfort levels is exactly what we expected in terms of the SB tooling. So it's doing everything it needs to be doing. And yeah, man, as you can see, if you're watching, very, very smooth looking shoe. Like I can pretty much bank my whole house on it. It's a top 5 shoe of the year for 2024. Shout me. Top 5. Top 5. I'm not going any higher than that. I'm saying we're really early in the year, but top 5. By the end of the year, before it's all said and done, yeah, we're gonna call that a top 5. Respectfully. Very, very good quality and a strong cop. In addition to that, I managed to cop another couple of bits. You get me? As you can probably see, if you're watching, I'm holding up the New Balance times JJJound 2002 R Gore-Tex. You get me? Been feeling to get a 2002 R for a minute and managed to get the JJJound pair. Been wanting to get a JJJound pair for a long time, and I don't think these disappoint. These are probably the best smelling shoes that I've received ever. Like, they smelled amazing. They still smell amazing. I'm such a neek for saying that, but these shoes smell absolutely amazing. I've got the charcoal pair and the pine pair in hand, as you can see. Very, very cool. For the first time in my life, I managed to cop on New Balance as well. Like, I have to say, prior to this, my New Balance experience, my user experience, for want of a better term, has been rubbish, has been trash. You get me? But this was super smooth. Can't deny it. Very, very smooth process. I managed to cop both of them within 3 minutes. Like, absolutely smooth like butter. You get me? Extra butter, if you will. And they came essentially the next day. Shout out to New Balance for just good customer service, a good user experience. I have to say, out of the 2 pairs in the hand, the charcoal and the pine, I'm leaning more towards the pine. I'm not going to hold on to both pairs. I'm leaning more towards the pine. Yeah, that green just works with my palette. You get me? If I'm going to hold on to any of them, I'm definitely going to hold on to these. And they come with spare laces as well. With the charcoals, you get a black pair. And with the pine, you actually get a pair of sort of regular green laces. Very, very cool. And by all accounts, a super comfortable shoe. And we will know how New Balance go with the materials and with the comfort levels. So yeah, very, very, very cool. Very happy about that as well. I feel like that's a little bit of a sleeper for this year. I doubt it's going to be in many people's shoes of the year, but very, very cool shoe, super comfortable, and the JJJound collaboration that I've been trying to get for such a long time. So yeah, just to say that I've finally got one. You get me? It's not the JJJound collaboration I'm trying to get. I'm still trying to get. I believe it was the 991 from last year. I love JJJound, and I love their New Balance collaborations, and I love the 991. So put that all together and they made magic. So yeah, we'll see what I want. Enough of all that sort of thing. Let's get into what we came for this week. We are talking life and kicks with writer and sneaker historian Kieran Coyle from All That Sneaks. I get into, during the interview, how I came across Kieran and how we came to know each other and how this opportunity presented itself. He's just a really, really cool guy. Just an amazing conversation. I really, really enjoyed the conversation. Essentially, Kieran, as a writer, has been sort of producing articles for some of the biggest in the game for years. He's been writing and contributing to the likes of BBC, Offspring, the Soul Supplier, Sneaker History, Sneaker Jaegers, and the Syndicate, just to name a few, apart from having his own website, All That Sneaks, as well. We chat about his life, his upbringing, growing up in Australia, coming over to the UK in his 20s, and just having that unique perspective on the culture and the differences between the two countries in terms of sneakers and in terms of what they like, what they don't like, and all of those various different things. We dive into his collection, and we also talk about his recent pickups. We also get into some quick fires. He mentions his love for Larry Johnson's AeroJet. It's the Converse AeroJet and AeroJam. We talk about that a little bit as well. And he also talks about, or we ask him, what 2 pairs of shoes he would take with him if he was stranded on a desert island. And with a collection like he has, you get me, he gave a decent answer. He also tried to turn the tables on me once again. These guests are becoming unruly. I have to be real. You get me? People are turning the tables. I asked him a question and he tried to turn it back on, man. You get me? Tried to reverse it. You get me? And, you know me, man. I just had to flow with it, man, because you get me, man. We have to look after each other. So when you turned it on me, I had to just let the people know what's going on in my mind. You get me? But I'm not going to spoil that. You can watch and listen out for that as well. But yeah, all in all, a really, really cool conversation. We spoke about absolutely everything, and we could have been speaking for the next 4, 5, 6 hours. Like, it felt that smooth, and I enjoyed it that much. An amazing guest, a great guy, and one I hope to have back on the podcast at some point in the not too distant future. A conversation that I found interesting and entertaining, and I hope you guys do as well. With that being said, guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. 5-star reviews only. You know I'm not interested in anything but respectfully. And even if you have something bad to say, if you have something deep that you want to critique, do it under 5 stars, respectfully. Yeah, and with all of that being said, I'm your boy ProZECH. This is Kicks Chronicles, and our guest this week is the sneaker writer and historian, Kieran Coyle from All That Sneaks. Enjoy. Yes, my people. It's your boy ProZECH, and I'm here with another illustrious guest. Kicks Chronicles is back in full effect. You may have seen some of his amazing stories, his great articles. You may have seen them on the likes of the BBC or Offspring, the Soul Supplier, Urban Syndicate as well, Sneaker Jaegers, and sneakerhistory.com. He is the man. I'm saying he's the man. He's a sneaker historian. He knows his thing. You get me? Hopefully he's not going to test me too strong. But this is a sneaker history podcast. We do like to talk a little bit about the history, and hopefully he's going to give us a couple gems. So yeah, welcome with me, Kieran Coyle. Kieran Coyle, what's kicking, my bro?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, I'll take that any day. I need that in writing, man.
We might need to get that AI to transcribe that.
Yeah, exactly.
How's your day been going, bro?
Yeah, good, man. Just been looking forward to this all day, really.
Oh man, me too, man. I appreciate you. Let's break the full fall a little bit. Kieran reached out to me on Instagram, and basically just was very, very nice about the podcast, and was talking about one of the previous episodes, I believe, and I thought I had a quick look at his profile, saw some of the things he was doing, and I think it's important and a lot of people would have heard me say this on the podcast. My podcast is really about sort of sharing this platform and shining a light on the culture and all aspects of the culture. And I feel like, especially as a former journalist myself, I feel like it's really, really important to shine a light on the people that are sort of the voice or the written word, sort of moving and molding the culture, so to speak, giving people that information that they really need in order for them to sort of understand the community, but also understand the history and the reasons why we're as crazy about this thing we are. So yeah, I thought it was just really important to get Kieran on, and yeah, he was obviously willing. So yeah, I really do appreciate it, my bro. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's really good to hear that as well, because you know, the amount of writing that I do, and sometimes you just think how many people are reading it, but I do it with the view that no one might be reading it, but I love it. I love writing about it, and you know, now and again a comment will come through on Instagram or something and go, "Great article, man," and it just takes that one to go, "Oh, great, someone read it and enjoyed it." You know,
massively,
yeah.
and I'm completely the same, because like you do a podcast, you throw it out, and every so often someone sends you an email or you get a DM, or you get some kind of feedback, and it's like, you know what, man, that thank you. And the thing is, I don't care whether it's good or bad, actually,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, exactly.
I don't actually care whether it's good or bad. I'm just like, fam, as long as you actually watched it or you listened to it or you, in your case, read it,
Yeah,
fam, keep coming. Yeah, bring
yeah, yeah,
it around. Let's have a chat. I'm happy for it. You get
yeah.
me? Because those are the people that are actually engaging with the content, and it's those kinds of opinions and those types of critiques. As long as they're obviously within reason, those are the ones that you want to take on board and listen to. So I completely get where you're coming from and that. But you know what we do on Kicks Chronicles, man, we like to take it right back to the beginning, something that I think you'll be familiar with.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your first love. Talk to me about that first shoe, whether it be first colorway or first silhouette, that one that just grabbed your heart.
Yeah, well, I don't know the age difference between us. I'm 42, right? So coming into the sneaker game,
I'm a couple weeks younger than you, just a couple
okay,
weeks.
okay, just a few weeks, right? But yeah, so I, you know, sometimes I think, oh, am I a bit old? And then the more younger people I speak to, sometimes I chat to them and I go, oh, I just threw out a pair of sneakers that are older than you. Like it's a really weird feeling, right? So like
Crazy.
my sort of first pair that I love sneakers from when I was about 6 or 7, so the early 80s. And then the first pair that I got in about 92 was the Larry Johnson Converse AeroJet. And
Oof.
now the AeroJet is slightly lesser known than the AeroJam, because that was the one that was in
Yeah, the
the
jams were the jam.
yeah.
Larry Johnson was a baller, by the way.
His
Knicks, big Larry Johnson. And the thing is, there was two Larry Johnsons. There was the shape up Larry Johnson and the
yeah,
one where he let it all grow out, and he was a beast, Larry Johnson.
yeah,
So yeah, man. And those shoes were big. Those
yeah.
shoes
You
were
know
big.
what? The beast is the right term. I think that's what I loved back then, because he had Muggsy Bogues, he had Kendall Gill, he had these sort of fit, younger, faster players around him. But boy, he was strong. So like when I would watch him play, like I was just, it's almost like enthralling to watch someone like that. Like there was
Yeah.
loads of action. He was really animated. So then to get his sneakers, like I'm the youngest of 9 kids, right? So I'm from a big family. So not a lot of money to go around for sneakers and things. And like to get those just blew my mind at that age as well, to get like I had the white pair with the teal and the black and stuff on them. And they were just like, they were so different as well to the other sneakers. So they had like the Converse React Gel, that you could really feel the sort of softness in the shoe, and that I'm a sucker for a good sole. So like, yeah. So like when I turn them over and there's just that bright splash of teal and the white and things like that on the sole, and then the yellow going through the midsole as well, from the React Juice, and the straps that would go over the tongue and strap around the side, and you could tuck your laces in, like just had all these features that I was
Yeah,
just,
man.
my
Come
mind
on.
was blown, right? So that's sort of like where it started. And then with a pair for me, right? But my older brothers and sisters, they had some shoes where it was years later that I went, I can't believe I wore them. Like my brother had the original black metallic 5s. And then
Whoa.
just as he wore out of them, then I was just getting old enough. I was still growing, right? So I was able to wear them to school and stuff like that. The Olympic 7s, Reebok pumps, like all these original pairs.
Wow.
They were from the older siblings. So like some of them I was wearing 2 or 3 pairs of socks, but
you gotta make it. You gotta make it work.
Yeah.
G. Them times there, I would have killed to have an older sibling with some taste.
Oh yeah.
To give me some hand-me-downs, bro. I did not have. There was too much of a gap between me and my older brother. It was like almost a 20-year gap. Right. I was definitely not expected. Let's put it that way.
No.
Right? So there's a 20-year gap. There's no hand-me-downs that I gotta wait long enough for it to reach down to big ProZECH. So yeah, I was not on the winning side of that, man. But I respect that, man. 9 kids. So how many girls? How many boys?
5 girls, 4 boys. So
that's a good ratio. That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a fun house.
Yeah, exactly. And it was sort of cool. Like the boys and the girls were both into sneakers. So
that's really cool.
The Olympic 7s and then a pair of the black AeroJams. One of my like older sisters, one of them had the Olympic 7s and one had the AeroJams. So even those pairs, I was getting, fitting into them as I was reaching high school. So it was amazing rocking up to school. If only I could play basketball well enough to match wearing a pair of Olympic 7s, but do what we can.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man. Fake it till you make it, man.
Exactly.
The truth is, right. I mean, I get people coming with this argument or this notion that you need to be able to do the thing that the shoe was originally created to do.
Yeah.
But bro, some of these shoes are just so sweet and lovely. I do not have the time or the energy to go and legitimize playing basketball or learning how to skateboard in order to wear these kicks.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I actually literally can't do
it. And
running is the hardest. And you know, just wearing running kicks, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. I can't really do it for that reason, right? Although I'm getting a bit older, so I really appreciate the comfort. So as I'm getting older, I'm going back into it, right?
Massively. So yeah, when it comes to you were talking about soles earlier, like when Adidas started doing the Ultra Boost and things of that nature, I was like, I'm here for this. Like, and Adidas has always been like, I mean, just veering off on a tangent, but Adidas has always been quite good when it comes to technology. But there's always been different types of technology, and as time has gone, things have obviously changed. You got, as you mentioned earlier, the Reebok pumps and the gels inside the cons and stuff like that. But like, there was something about that boost that really just spoke to me, man. So yeah. Comfort. I became the comfort king not too long ago. It was a few years ago, and I'm reigning. I'm still reigning.
Yeah, that's
supreme.
Great. I know. I can see some nice, comfy pairs behind you there. They're looking
good. A couple. You got a couple of naughty ones as well, but like, definitely a couple of, because like that was another thing. Like when the worlds of sort of like athleisure, I think that's what they were called. That athletic, leisure, stylish, those worlds came together and created essentially the Yeezy, and predecessor to the Yeezy, I'd probably say was something like the Air Max. That's me all day.
Yeah,
that's me all day.
And that's what I love is when, not just when there's retro releases, but people wear some of the retro releases and they go, wow, they're really comfortable. And you're like, yeah, that's because they've tried to spec the original spec. Not to go straight diving into my collection, but I had them right here. Like these EQTs, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. So I haven't worn them yet, and I've had them for a few years. I do really try. I'm always like, where are your sneakers? But I did get this pair, and I was like, they've got to stay in the box. I've got to get like invited to an Adidas event, or it's got to be something like that for me to bring these out. But like they are absolutely just so comfortable.
Yeah, Adidas has always been really good when it comes to comfort, man. I always felt like Nike has always been okay, but I found Nike tend, not always, but tend to be narrower. And I've got a wider foot. So I feel like on that basis, generally, my feet are a little bit uncomfortable just because it's a bit more constricted. Underfoot, it's not the worst underfoot, but just on the foot, it was a bit of an issue. Whereas Adidas seems to be, maybe it's because it's their European heritage, but it seems to be a bit of a wider foot. And then under, just like, walking on clouds, man. Walking on clouds. But you know what I wanted to ask you? I mean, obviously, it seems like from what you said, you had a little bit of like a varied upbringing in the terms of like, you've got like this massive family. But where did you actually grow up?
So I'm originally from Melbourne in Australia.
Nice.
Yeah, so I grew up there, and I moved to London in about 2007. So
Okay.
yeah, so I moved over when I was like 26, and I loved it. It was like it was a real interesting shift. So coming from Australia is very much basketball like background within the sneakers and things. And then when I moved here, and I'd go into Size and Carnaby Street or whatever, and then it was just like a whole. It was like getting like a refreshed love of sneakers again. Like I went to just a TK Maxx and I found a pair of like Puma discs for £30 or something, and I was like,
Puma
"I'll have them, thanks."
discs.
And I went, I hadn't
Yeah,
seen them
bro.
since they originally came out. So like there were sneakers like that, and then there was the EQTs would drop and all these things. And I thought in Australia, I grew up sort of going to the shopping centers and visiting like Foot Lockers and whatever, and looking at the latest Jordan and whatever. That's sort of what I grew up seeing. So it was a good change coming here and seeing the Sambas and pairs like that.
Yeah,
It's such a big cultural icon sort of sneaker over here. So I loved it. It sort of made me delve deeper into those subjects and learn more about those, so I could write about them and things like that. So from moving from Melbourne to here sort of refreshed everything in a way.
I think that's such a good perspective to have, because quite often what you have, I think there was a conversation I had with Raf from My Soulfly, and he's similar to you in the sense that he grew up in Ghana, but he moved to UK when he was like I think he was in his teens. He was obviously slightly older, but like he was able to compare the differences between the two cultures.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. You see, like, okay, these are the shoes that are like really popular like in Australia. These are the shoes that are really popular in the UK at the same time. And it's so interesting to see that. So like when you were growing up, like in your heyday, like in Australia, sort of what were the really, really popular shoes? What do you see on people's feet in your mind?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is things like the Air Max BW, so the big window Air Maxes.
Yeah.
Because there was a friend of mine who I think he used to work at the Night Store at the time. And when I would see him, he would normally come in with whatever was the latest release at the time. So that's sort of like an off-court version. But growing up playing basketball, so I played basketball from, say, when I was about 7 to when I was about 23, 24. And the big thing for me was growing up, going to the shopping centre, looking at what's the latest release in Foot Locker and things. But then when I'd go to a game, as soon as I'd get on, there were 4 courts, and I might be on court 4. So I'd be looking at every single person's foot on the court as I'd walk past. But back then, you didn't think of yourself as a sneakerhead. I loved them, and that was it, right? But I remember doing that. So the ones that really stand out is the Concord 11s. So obviously an absolute classic, and everyone loves them and everything. But I just still remember seeing like the ad for that. I will just never forget, because I remember the ads. That was the only, back in the 80s, 90s, that was how you would see the new release. It wasn't like it was in the newspaper or anything.
This is it.
So I just still remember watching like a half-hour basketball show, whatever we had, and then it would go to the ad break, and then if it was a new Jordan releasing, you were just like glued to the TV. So like I'll never forget that. Then going to a basketball game and seeing them on people's feet, and just so I think they were one of those shoes that I can still picture being, 10 or 12 and going into a stadium and seeing them and looking at them and going into the sneaker store and like touching the patent leather for the first time. And like I've got all those memories as well. And I think, like you were just saying about connecting sort of, what it was like growing up in Melbourne and the sneaker culture there, and being able to compare it to here and how it's changed. It's the same with being able to compare the features of sneakers, or say the playoff 8s that just released again last year, that there might be just the slightest touch of like the red heel tab or something, and you go, that was on the original pair. So like I love someone had looked and gone back through the details and found that feature. Or Puma discs might come back out, but then they go, right, they're coming back out, but we're going to release all different colorways. So then I'm like, oh, I can't believe my luck. I thought they might just release an OG colorway, but I got them in like a weird sort of brown orangey color and stuff, like just something. Sounds ugly. I mean, it was ugly, but but I still wore them anyway. They were so cheap. But yeah, I love that as well, of being the age I am, that I can sort of, when something's going to release again, I'm thrown back into the 80s or 90s.
I love it.
When it first released. It's just really cool.
No, that's very, very cool, man. And I feel like that's one of the beautiful things of this culture, this sort of community, the ability to see a new shoe or to see a retro of a shoe, but to see, I suppose, that the brand's take on that retro.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the whole thing with the whole reimagined, obviously that's a bit more of a stronger design choice. But like whether it be a heel tab or whether it be the type of netting or the I'm saying, like, these little design choices, we as sneakerheads, like, they evoke emotion. They actually do. They really do. It can be like, oh, euphoria. It could be like, they brought it back. Finally, we have the big bubble back. We have it. We have a big bubble. Or it can be, why did you change this? Why have you done this? Why can we not have this sort of thing? And we are like, we can be very, very precious when it comes to our kicks and when it comes to the various different details on the shoes and stuff, man. And sometimes I think about the culture and I'm like, is there another subculture? Is there another community that is as precious when it comes to the design choices that these brands make as we are? Like, I think we are very, very interested when it comes to these things,
very meticulous, right? If they're going to do it, we want it done correctly, or not at all.
Perfect.
Yeah,
it needs to be done perfectly, man.
Yeah.
But
just thinking of on that as well, talking about the little details or something we might see. Something else we'll notice as well and pick up on before it's even sort of, we read about the sneaker, was something like, I've got the Jordan 33s, right? So based some of it off the 3. So the reflective sort of tongue, Nike Air on the back, things like that. And I think just a little bit of sort of elephant print material there. And there's things like that as well that I just think, I love that they don't do it with every single pair, but now and again they just go, oh, it's the 33, and they look back at the 3 and go, right, we'll just do these slight things. And it still looks like an absolute brand new silhouette, which it is. But there's just a couple of hints and nods back to the OG pair, which make it look so cool. So I always appreciate that as well.
That's all good, man. That's all good. I'm going to ask you a question. It's something that I generally tend to ask in regards to what I refer to, or I think I've coined the phrase unholy grails.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I'll explain what I mean when I say an unholy grail. And you kind of alluded to something similar, so we'll see what we'll come up with. But an unholy grail is an off-brand shoe. It's not necessarily one of your bigger brands. It may even be a fake, who knows? It just may be one of those types of shoes that you wouldn't want to necessarily be caught wearing. I do have a few examples: Plimsolls, Golas, Ball Boys High Techs, Dunlops, Mercury's, Everlast, Avias, Ascot's, Tracks, and Adores. Did you ever have to walk that dark road, bro?
Yes, and I think even if you haven't heard of this brand before, you'll still go, yeah, that sounds like an unholy grail. They were called Aerosport.
Yes,
that's an actual brand.
So generic.
Wow, sport. So
perfectly generic title for it.
Man,
that's perfect. Aerosport is perfect.
Yeah, the outsole on those things were just rock hard.
Bro, that is necessary. Yeah.
Like I used to play basketball and you'd run and stop and then just like slide across the court before you stopped. You had to sort of plan to stop early at any given point. Like, it was just, if someone like went to fake you out and drive around, you had no hope. Like, they were just, whereas growing up in the big family, they were amazing. Like, they were, it was sort of I reckon I'd love to go back and look at that original pair, because in my head, I felt like I was wearing sort of LA Gears or Avias or something like that, because it was around that era of like Hakeem Olajuwon in LA Gears and things like that. So I think, but the closest we could get was something like that. So they did. I remember them looking cool, but
I respect it. That's another one to the list. I'm putting that on the list. Aerosport. That's wild. I love that name, bro.
You have to have a look at some of those old models. I think there'll be old ads, like old adverts and things for them and stuff. They're great.
No, I respect it. Yeah. Okay, bro. So let's work our way a bit more to the modern day. This is a part of the interview I refer to as the EST of KIC. So we talk about sort of the oldest, the newest, the rarest, the best. So yeah, what's the oldest shoe you currently have in your collection?
This pair just behind me,
Love it.
Bred 11s.
Oh, I love it.
2001. These are
Yeah,
from.
you beat me.
And you can tell that I wore them. They're
Yeah.
I had to get the sole stuff back on a while ago. Oh, you got some as well, right behind you.
Yeah, but I think mine are the 2012, if I'm getting that right.
Right, yeah, 2012. I think they
Yeah,
came.
I think mine are the 2012. But yeah, too far. Yeah, these are. I've only literally, like, when I first got them, I wore them like so much, but then I realized they were super uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and it wasn't it wasn't worth it. So
yeah,
I only wear them very rarely now. But yeah, please continue, bro. They are very, very spicy, bro. I love that
2001,
shoe.
and another pair where I got them, and then years later I went. I suppose I had a plug at the time because I used to work at a sneaker store, and then in like the late 90s, early 2000s, I worked at Stadium Sports, and then my mate still worked there, and then when these dropped. And I was still playing basketball. I was just like, "You've got to get me a pair of those." So he was able to get me some. So yeah. So I love, as soon as I got them, I wore them straight away. But it was as well before time where I would wear a different pair of sneakers to the court and then put these on and play in them and then take them off and I would clean them after. Like I did all of that before it was sort of, YouTube and everything wasn't around then. But I was really caring and looking after them. And then it shows, like, I still wear these now, but I did have to get the sole stuff back on.
That's fair enough. I mean, we're 2024 right now, 2001, bro. I mean, 23 years down the line, just the sole swap, I think you've done very well. That's testament.
I know the rest of it's
looking after the shoe. Bro, it looks good. It looks good. It looks good. You might get a VD. What's the terminology? Very near dead stock. I think you might get
more like very near dead.
Very near livestock. No, just
yeah.
We like that. All right, bro. Let's switch gears, man. What's the newest pair of shoes in your collection?
So the newest pair I just bought. So sort of the most recent pair I bought. The clock.
Oh, the clock. It's a death.
Yeah. So from years gone by, I used to always sometimes pick ugly shoes, like ones that I obviously liked, but I went, no one's wearing that, and I would buy them. And then when I saw these, I went, oh, they're a bit ugly. I don't know about the clear toe box and all that stuff. But then when I saw them in person, and I was just like, look at that red. They got the wax laces. I love just the hints of the green on the tongue and the lace holes at the top. They've even got matching dark red in the air unit, like the orange midsole, and then, like I said before, I love an outsole, right?
Yeah, so that outsole is legendary. Yeah, that's super outsole.
That sold it to me. So when I saw that, and I just went, I've got to get them. So I haven't worn them yet either because I've got to find the right pair of socks, right?
Well, this is it, man. Because that opens up a whole can of worms. Because the thing is, and let me just talk for myself. Sometimes we wear kicks, just to cover up our feet.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like sometimes these kicks are hiding a multitude of sins. People just know that for facts, right?
Yeah.
You get me? Like, the holy socks are the least of people's worries. You don't want to know what's going on.
Exactly. Or for them, they're going to show if you're wearing a pair that's a size too big or something.
This is it, man. If your feet are all just like mashed up, like and curled over, like everyone's gonna know. And I feel like just having a little bit of a window into the literal soul of a shoe.
Exactly.
It was actually very cool, man. I feel like at the time it was a little hit and miss. I remember when they came out, it was a little hit and miss. But like, I feel like in terms of the test of time, and especially considering obviously Clot has moved over to Adidas, I feel like that shoe's just gonna grow in legend over the years. Exactly. So I feel like it's a great purchase, bro. So that's a very cool shoe.
And I had to sort of guess what size as well because it doesn't really have any cushioning at all. It's just straight leather there, right? So I've got a bit more room in it, but it's hard because they are super comfortable, but trying them on, I think my toes end a little bit early. So that's why I'm still like, if I find the right way to wear it or something like that, maybe they'll be all right. Or someone said you can even buy like the the things you put in the toe box, like to keep it from creasing. But someone said get ones that you can put in where you can still wear the shoe, and I was like, oh, I can't imagine that's comfortable.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, that's a bit of a random thought, but I only recently just tried, like, I think they're called crease protectors, right? I only recently just tried using it. I used it in the Jordan 4s, the SBs. And literally for I'd probably say for like an hour, 2 hours, didn't really notice it, to be honest. It was only once, like, after about a couple of hours, I started noticing it, and it wasn't like massively painful, but you knew it was there. So it's almost a thing of, at that point, I was like, I could just leave them in, or I could just take them out. And it's the thing with that, you could actually just take them out, and it would be fine. But obviously, what you're trying to do is protect the shoe. So I do get it. So I think it's hit and miss with certain people. Certain people swear by them.
So I'd have to get a good color of
You might need to actually get like a custom pair designed.
Now we're talking
in the theme of the clot, in the theme of the kiss of death. Like, that might actually be sick. But yeah, what would you call your greatest pair of shoes?
My greatest pair, you know what? It'd probably be the Bacons. I think
Bacon 90 strong.
Yeah, so Dave's Quality Meats. These are obviously the retro pair, so they've just got Nike and they don't have the DQM on the front, but. So comfy. But once again, another colorway. So they're sort of a classic, right? But when you think brown and pink, like, it doesn't sound like it's going to make a good sneaker, but they're so comfortable, and the story behind it as well. It sells me too.
Nah. Strong shoe. Super, super strong shoe. The 90, I feel like the 90 is one of those shoes where it's like everyone loves it, but it's not the top of anyone's list.
No.
But the Bacon is such a strong colorway. And you're right? Before Travis, people, I mean, they did do brown and pink. Somebody did try it, and it did work, and it works on the Bacon. It just wasn't as popular, I suppose. And I think that is a strong shoe. It's a super, super strong shoe.
Yeah.
As you said, Dave's Quality Meats. Very, very rare to come by as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of the first pairs I bought as well, where it's a collaboration, but you can feel the difference in it.
Yeah,
it's not just like, oh, it's a collab, but all the materials feel the same or cheaper. Like the absolute soft leather on the inside and stuff, and the leather on the toe box.
Nah, it's strong.
It's so lush.
I mean, those were collaborations when we could say literally, like, those were the days, man. Those were real collaborations where it was novel. It was different.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's sort of, sorry to cut you off.
No.
It's like with movies these days. So you know how they have to, there's so many more blockbusters coming out now because they have to make the money back. They have to make hundreds of millions to make it back on the film. So doing collaborations now, they might get someone and they go, these are selling, and they do another collab and they go, these are selling, and they just keep going and going and going. Whereas back then, it was just him and a mate running a like streetwear store in New York. And that the brand would go to him and say, "Let's do an Air Max 90." It's amazing that those sorts of things happened back then, and then they sort of just after that, that's it. I know they move on and find someone else to do with.
This is it, but it was so genuine. It was, You know what I'm saying? Like, and the thing is that then translates to how their legend and how after years and years and years they're still on people's grail list because of how genuine those collaborations actually were. They weren't money grabbing. I'm saying, like, even things like I was reading up about Concepts, because obviously Concepts are renowned for having a very cool collaboration in the SB Lobster. But like how those things come about and how you get to the point where you've done so many different ones, it's just comes from that. Oh, I think this might work. Let's give it a go. Let's see, sort of thing. You like this, I like that. Okay, let's put it together and let's see what happens. And all of a sudden, you get something that becomes legendary. So I'm vibing with it, man. That's a very, very cool pair.
Exactly, and it's a shoe, and there's like the J-Tips Saucony from last year that they're sort of pairs. Whereas as soon as you see them, you just go, yeah, I bet you Saucony went, go for it. Like, just we trust you.
1000%.
What do you want to do? And he said that, and they went, great. That's why we've picked you. We've let you design it. Let's go ahead with it. It looks like it's just been completely left up to the artist to design. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I like the idea that a brand goes to the collaborator, and they're going to them based on what they know that collaborator can do.
Yeah.
They're having full faith in that collaborator. I think we've seen it in recent terms, like you said with J Tips, but I'd also say probably like the likes of Salehi Bembury as well,
Yeah.
and probably a Joe Freshgoods as well at
Yeah.
New Balance. Like there are certain ones where it's like, nah, these guys carry a lot of heat.
Yeah.
They're not. I'm saying they're not new to the game. They're all true to the game. So
Yeah.
all we need is that sort of that little rub, and we know that thing's gonna catch fire, and they never miss. These
Yeah,
guys
exactly.
don't miss. They shout out to J Tips, man, because I feel like 2023 was his year.
Yeah,
Absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
Like I literally, like,
I know. I
had
thought.
to. Yeah, I had to. Literally, I had to. And the thing is, I love the Grid Azura as well. I didn't initially.
Yeah.
It's funny how the shoe was actually called Remember Who Fronted, because I was fronting on that shoe 1,000,000%. I did not find that shoe attractive in the slightest initially. But then when you hear the story, you hear the passion in which he speaks, and you understand sort of where it's coming from and what's led to this situation.
Yeah. And
you're like, it's impossible not to fall in love.
Yeah. And do you agree as well? It also always, as well, in that sort of instance, it comes down to the comfort of the sneaker, and also, as in like the quality of the sneaker.
Yes, yes, massively.
Especially with, I keep saying Saucony is supposed to say Saucony.
Saucony, yeah, officially.
But the quality of those sneakers is just like next level, and it can even be a pair. You could pick up a pair on sale or whatever, but
it's
you
the
feel
same.
It's still made so well.
It's the same, and this is the thing. Like, I'm not a massive Saucony head. Like, I haven't been very exposed to the brand in the years that I've sort of been looking at Kicks, and I feel like last year what J Tips did was just highlight what amazing work these guys have been doing in the shadows for so many years.
Yeah.
And it's actually given me the opportunity to sort of look back over what some of the, because there's like people, just so you know, Saucony have been going for ages, and they've got bangers. They've got absolute bangers in the archives. And these shoes, more often than not, you can get them for retail, less than retail. Like, there's some crazy shoes out there. In fact, you know what? Right?
Yeah.
Let's do a little bit of a challenge.
Let's do it.
Let's do a little bit of a challenge, right? Because we're talking about Saucony, right? And do you know what? Let's do your top 3 Sauconys versus my top 3. Let's just see, and the people will decide whose top 3 is the best top 3. And because you're my guest, my esteemed guest, I'm gonna let you go first.
Thank you. So, I've loved them for years. And first off, as well, I'll say you're right that they've got so many bangers that can be re-released. Like, I think they're just gonna continue to follow New Balance. Models.
Perfect blueprint.
Yeah. So almost my number 1 would be the Food Fight. It's a Shadow 6000. Have we got snapped on that one? I don't know.
We snapped on that one. You snapped on that one. Yep.
I love it because they've got other ones like avocado toast and things like that. And I love a few. Obviously I love food themed sneakers, right? So, so the fact that they brought that one out, and then it was a mix of all of the different food ones that they brought out over the years.
With the Food Fight strong.
So and it's got I think they've got a mismatched sole on there as well. So like it sings to me. So that's probably. My top 3 are interchangeable because there's that, and that's obviously very loud, very colorful, different materials and that sort of thing. But then I also love, there's a pair called the Dirty Snow, and they're like it's like from a distance they look gray, but it's like black, white, and gray, almost tiny hits of it all over the sneaker. So it just looks sort of like Dirty Snow, like it's a really cool color. And then the Shadow 6000 fried chicken.
Fried chicken. Yeah,
laces sold me on that one. I don't know what it is. I love sneakers so much, right? But I could go, I'm really sucking.
You love sneakers and food, clearly.
So the laces on there were just like very Well, you know, someone's gone to the detail, right? They didn't make the sneaker and then just put a basic 20p lace in there. Like the fact they went to the trouble of finding like the right materials, made sure they held up and things like that, and it matches like the Saucony logo on the side with the little fried chicken leg, you know, there. So there was stuff like that. I just love those details on there as well. I don't own any of those, but they're on my list of like, I've still got it somewhere. I have a spreadsheet of whenever I come across pairs, I actually list them on a spreadsheet under the different brands. And then I put a link to where I first found them. So if I need to go back and see if they're available, I've still got it. So those ones are on that list as well.
Love that. That's a strong three, bro. It's a strong three.
Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, so we definitely got a snap on the food fight. I'm gonna definitely have to concede that. The food fight is a legendary pair, man. Legendary pair. Yeah. You're absolutely right with the mismatch as well, man. It's just everything. Like it's just everything. And it's a Shadow 6000, and it's a silhouette that probably not a lot of people are fully aware of in recent times. Yeah. So I think equally comfortable as well in terms of sort of that silhouette, and it just says so much about the brand, man. I would definitely have to have every J-tip Saucony that's ever come out. So the thing is, yeah, I mean, it is the top three. So I'm gonna have the food fights. I'm gonna have probably I'm gonna go with these. Even though the Remember Who Fronted definitely piqued everyone's interest and got a response and a reaction. I feel like when I saw these, I was like, the guys arrived. It was cemented. So the sort of, I think they're called What's the Occasion? What's the Occasion? The Grid Shadow 2s. Love the silhouette on the Grid Shadow 2 as well. The last one that I would say is also a Shadow 6000. It's the Foot Patrol, only in Soho. Which is basically it's like it's a blue. It's almost like a UNC blue, like on the bottom of the shoe, but then a complete black with some red hits as well. A nice collaboration with Foot Patrol, and a little bit of an honourable mention for the I believe it was A-Life. A-Life did I think it was a 6000 as well. It might have been a 6000 as well. But A-Life did a sick. It was like based on New York. It's based on the New York metro system, I believe. But yeah, that one, it was like whites and silvers and blues and stuff, and that fits my aesthetic as well. So yeah
exactly. Like, and I love that as well. When there's, some brands can probably try and do it and go a bit over the top, but sometimes they can pull it off, like these with a shout to a subway system, because you could look at just that sneaker on the shelf as someone walking in off the street who's not in sneakers, and they might like it. And then there's people like us who know the history or why the design choice is there, and it really sings to you a lot more. Absolutely. It's so breathable and comfortable, those A-Life ones. And I love that. Like, there was a pair, now I'm trying to remember, which I think it was a MX1 that came out, the Pompidou Center ones, I think. And I think they have a clear sole with the map of like the French tube map, or there's something like that. There's just these things where you go, if you just saw them on a shelf, you wouldn't think that.
You may not even clock it, man. There's these little things, man.
It's got like the stripes and things from the Pompidou Center in France. With the reds and yellows and blues and the silver gray of the building and things like that. And I just, it's those that they look like a clean sneaker and that's it. Whereas if you know the history or the design choices of it, it just really stands out.
Correct me if I'm wrong, what was the shoe that was also based, was it the Pompidou or was it the museum? There was a shoe that Tinker based. Was it a Jordan? No, it was an Air Max.
I think it was the first time they were going to put the air unit, like visible.
Yes, it was based on the French Museum. But was it the Pompidou or was it something else?
Yeah, it's based on the Pompidou Center, because in the Pompidou Center in France, the the elevators and things like that are on the outside. So it's
That's
almost,
it. It's the air unit. You're absolutely, it's on the outside. And do you know, like when you were saying Pompadour, I was like, that's touching the nerve. Why am I remembering that for some reason? And I think it was during the live for the Big Bubble. I think he mentioned it.
Yes, they would have.
I think he mentioned it during the live for the Big Bubble.
And he was so cool. Casual about it. He sort of said, like, I think in a few times I've heard him mention it, he sort of goes, it wasn't like I saw it and went away and designed. I think he was like, I know that I'd seen it. And then he was sort of thinking of that idea. And then it made him think back to that building. And then I think it sort of grew on him as a thing to do. And then he tried it with the air unit, and the rest is history, right?
The rest is literally history, bro. It's literally history. Very, very, very cool. Very cool. If you were just running out the house, not thinking too much about a fit, just literally bop into the shops, let's say, right?
Yeah.
What is the shoe that's like right next to the front door that you're just gonna grab?
Well, it's funny. Obviously, this isn't my front door, but I did pop these up here just in case we went to speak. They're always at the front door, so they're a little bit dirty, but I wear them all the time.
Is that the Simpsons ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Krusty the Clown. Okay, I got it. Is that the Krusty Burger? That's the Krusty Burger one,
Krusty Burger. So it's the A to ZX series. I think this was K or T or S. I can't remember if it was Krusty Burger or
that
S.
was all through lockdown, wasn't it? I remember that was so sick. Oh, that was so cool.
So it's a sneaker. So like with the J Tips one, right, where I looked at the silhouette and I went, I like the silhouette, but I had no idea if they were going to look ridiculous. And I got them, put them on foot, and just went, they look incredible. And when they were brand new, like all of the colors just absolutely popped. And then obviously there's the materials of
they look pop art, bro. They absolutely look pop art. They look so cool, man.
Yeah, sesame seeds for the
very, very cool, man.
Krusty's nose, you know, and I changed up the Dubre there for Krusty. So
okay.
Because it comes with some plain sort of ZX.
Yeah, it came with the wavy ZX thing.
Logo. But then I swapped it out for them. And
I respect it.
So they're a great one to have. I grab these as well sometimes when I'm heading out.
What a spicy boy!
Yeah.
I was thinking, there's an Air Maxes. What Air Maxes are they? They're not 95s, are they? They're not 95s.
They're MX2 Lights. Atmos.
MX2 Lights.
And,
Atmos.
Yeah, and they don't match either. Obviously,
yeah, so love that. Love that.
And once again, talking about the stories, you know, going back to, you know, what the heritage of sort of some of the designs are. That's another sneaker where I love the story, because I saw them and I was like, they look cool, they're bright, bit garish, whatever. You can wear sort of a plain outfit and then have those on your feet, right?
It's like your shoes sing, bro.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then when I read a bit more about them and the store itself, and then the fact that they were made to look like, or be a throwback to sort of 80s running gear, like parachute material running tracksuits and things. And then I just went, I've got to have them. They're great.
The parachute trousers, the ones like MC Hammer used to wear.
Yeah. Like proper 80s running gear back then.
I love it. I love it. No, that's a vibe. That's definitely a vibe. Couple strong choices there.
Yeah.
Certain man are coming out just like maybe in a pair of Crocs.
Yeah.
Maybe a little.
How many Crocs do you have? I don't own any, but everyone swears by them, right? No one could believe they were a thing, and now they're just everywhere.
I'll let you into something, and probably by the time this comes out, that would have come out. It may even come out, like concurrently. But I've just spoken to a guy by the name of Doogie Lish Sandtiger, who unofficially is the world record holder for the most amount of Crocs. He is the largest Croc collector unofficially. 3,082 pairs.
Wow.
3,082 pairs. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine owning one.
And we're not counting gibbets, bro.
No.
You get me? So some people have taken it to the next level. Shout out to Doogie, man. He's an absolute legend. But yeah man, I'm a Croc guy. To be fair, I'm a comfort guy. I said it. I'm a comfort guy.
So socks and Crocs outside the house? Yeah.
Socks, Crocs, no socks. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right. As long as the comfort is comforting, I'm good, broski.
I mean, if you walk around in a Supreme hoodie, no one's looking at your feet
at all. at all.
Yeah,
For what I'm saying, like, especially if it's this color red, right? You're
yeah,
going around people just think you're a massive zit.
yeah.
You
I mean,
get
it's
me?
amazing seeing these Crocs everywhere. They're obviously so light. They're like versatile. Just everyone's wearing them with all these outfits. Then, I think brands or designers, it's been amazing seeing Crocs do collaborations and things.
Yeah,
This is like,
yeah.
it's just nuts, like how big they've become.
No, Crocs are definitely doing their thing. And considering, I mean, they're a relatively new brand, like the
Mm,
last sort of 20,
yeah, yeah,
25 years. They're not been around for ages and ages and ages. But for them they've solidified their place. And I think the question was, I mean, it's a random thought that came into my head while I was talking to Doogie, but are they part of our culture? Do they
mm,
form part of the sneaker culture? I
yeah,
feel like our culture is already sort of like, for want of a better term, it's probably a subculture. It's
yeah,
probably a niche within a culture of fashion or streetwear, right? But then the Crocs are probably a niche within a niche,
yeah, yeah.
for want of a better term. So I feel like it's just part of what we're doing now.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a question for you. So when there's like sneaker of the year things, I know that sometimes Crocs start to creep into that category, and then people start going, "Oh, do we include Crocs in there? Are they actually sneakers?" And then the other thing is, should the top 10 release of the year be new silhouettes or like things
Yeah,
like that? And then the SB4, sorry, the Jordan 4 SB, like sort of collab, the Pine Greens, like they're not a new silhouette, but
no,
it's a new, like
it's a
like an
new
application.
collaboration.
So like,
Even when you can say about the reimagines, I think a lot of people were
yeah,
talking about the reimagines, especially when it come to the top 10, and they were saying, "Well, that's gonna win it." Like we could throw out the Chicago every year. That's gonna win
yeah,
every year, right?
yeah.
Because
I think
people are
that's
gonna lap up the Chicago,
yeah,
and I think it's a fair argument. I think when you talk about like beloved silhouettes and
mm,
colorways that are almost guaranteed to garner that reaction, I think it's fair,
yeah,
like moving forward, for us to say maybe we should we should alter our list to sort of to not include those. That being said, like it's just a fun debate, right? It's just
yeah,
something to chat about. I like last year I had the SBs at number one, and I had actually did I have the I can't remember now. I think I either had the Cortez
yeah,
95 at number two,
yeah,
and the Reimagine White Cement at three, or
yeah,
vice versa, one of the two.
yeah,
But ultimately, like a Jordan 4 in a top 10, I think there was probably like a couple of Jordan 4s in the top 10, if I'm being honest.
yeah. I think there
Because,
was
yeah,
not maybe another Armament pair
I think there
or
was
maybe
something, I can't remember off
yeah,
the top of my head. But I think, truthfully, a lot of people, especially in this moment right now, are loving the Jordan 4,
yeah,
right? So it is what it is. It's going to be on a lot of people's lists. It's going
yeah,
to be a lot of people's minds. Invariably, Nike are going to beat that to death, and that's going to that's going to start annoying people, and then it's going to sort of work its way out the cycle.
yeah,
I think for true sneakerheads, I think what you do when that situation is happening is understand. Similar to what happened with Dunks, is
mm,
while all of these sort of weird and wonderful colorways that don't necessarily have a massive amount
mm,
of history or heritage are coming out, you start picking out the real good ones. You
yeah,
just like the few really, really good, because those are the ones that are going to last the test of time,
yeah,
right? In
exactly,
my opinion, the SB4, that's going to last the test of time, in my
yeah,
opinion. I
yeah,
feel like it's the first of its kind. They've changed the tooling for the 4.
yeah,
The new bread reimagined is following the same tooling as the SB4, so it should be more comfortable. It
exactly,
should
yeah,
be a more comfortable experience, and comfort should be at the forefront for a lot of these shoes, because ultimately Jordans have not been comfortable for a long time. So
yeah.
I think a lot of things are going to change moving forward. But yeah, the SB4 is a vibe. But yeah, we can chat about the bread,
Oh yeah, the
because
bread
I
falls. Yeah.
remember, I briefly looked at your website as well. Shout out your website. What's your
That's
website?
allthatsneaks.com.
Love that, bro.
Yeah,
You briefly had a look at that, and I saw you did a little piece on the bread 4.
yeah,
And considering what's happening right now, we're literally, as we're recording this, days away from the official release of the bread for reimagined,
Yeah.
causing a little bit of a stir, bit of a controversy. People don't know how to feel. And this is the interesting thing. It's like, for some people, it's like, no, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't care that it's fully level. I don't care that the new box gone. It's everything I needed.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to get a retro of these. I'm not going to get the old version. I need to get this. Right?
Yeah.
And some people are like, I don't know whether I should care about this.
Yeah.
Because it's not the retro. It's been reimagined. Where do you stand on that?
So my opinions over this has changed, not just the Bred 4, but exactly what you're saying. It's something releasing and it not releasing in exactly the same materials and things as the original pair. So when Jordans would come out, I used to always just like the original 3 or 4 colorways, and that was it. But then some would start to release where I just went, that colorway is amazing. Or, you know, I love the black cement 3. And then years later, looked back to it and went, oh, we only wore that in an all-star game. Like, there's things like that you go, the Aqua 8s, Jordan Aqua 8s, I think he only wore them in the all-star game. So there's pairs where I go, well, it's an original colorway, but he only wore it once and that was it. But it's held its own. So there's things like this Bred 4 where I go, I don't think I could wear them because they're fully leather and so on. And then I thought, I've seen a few videos and reviews and things of them, and they look incredible.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's, like you say, people don't know how to react to it because they're like, oh, I'd rather it be in the new buck. And then they see it on foot on someone and they go, wow, they actually look good. And they look like they're going to hold up, like especially in London, right?
This
you
is
need
it.
Something that's can hold it up in this.
It's actually a smart play, if we're being honest, right? From like, I mean, it does make sense. The idea of switching that material, because especially in a climate that's a little bit sort of inclement in the UK, where more often than not you don't know what you're gonna get when you come out your house. New buck's never gonna be sort of, unless it's summertime, it's never gonna be on a lot of people's lists.
Right.
And this just makes the shoe all year round. It just makes it viable the whole year.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's such an amazing colorway as well. Like, you just literally can't go wrong with it, man. I really want to get them in hand.
Yeah.
Fortunately enough, I did win a pair.
Oh, amazing!
I have already won a pair. I'm still yet to pay. It's the Offspring.
You got the Offspring ones. Nice one.
The Offspring raffle. So I'll be heading off to Offspring at some point to try and collect the pair when it drops.
Do you know already if you're going to be like straight on foot, or you're going to get them, try them on, and go, oh, you know what, the leather's not for me? Like,
do you know what, bro? Literally, I am in two minds, right? I said to myself at the beginning of this year, when I started seeing the plans from Jordan and other brands in regards to what was dropping, I was saying there's not really much I'm massively looking forward to. And I know things generally tend to change as the year goes, right?
Yeah.
The closer and closer we get to this drop, I found myself getting a little bit more excited as the sort of like anticipation builds in the culture. You're starting to see more posts. You're starting to see people with early pairs. You're starting to see, like, I saw Aman Tak put beige laces, off-white laces on his pair, and I was like, that's unbelievable. I saw the extra butter had a 4 that had cell laces as well, and I was like, those look sick. And I was like, the idea of putting cell laces in these, when I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. I'm not even that guy, but I'll be like, am I that guy? Maybe I am.
I'm that guy. Who knew I was that guy? No one told me. Like, oh, here we are.
So like, all of these things start happening, and it's like, am I just getting swept up in the sort of the hysteria of a crazy drop, or do I genuinely like the shoe? And I think you'll only really know once you get them in hand and see. So let's see, man. I'm gonna ask you a question, and I'm gonna apologize in advance, because it's a little bit of a stinker, if I'm being honest. But I want to ask you, if your house was on fire and you could only grab one pair of shoes, what pair would they be and why?
It's gonna have to be these.
Strong.
Dave's Quality Meat.
Yeah, Dave's Quality Meats. Pause.
The quality, the comfort, they're a pair where I could wear them with absolutely everything.
Like, they stand alone. They can stand alone. strong.
Whereas if I'm grabbing the clots aren't going to work, the Bred 11s, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to wear these often. Whereas, yeah, I would 100% come in and grab them without a doubt.
Yeah, I think the other thing with those is, apart from them being amazing colorway, they're actually comfortable to wear.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If you did have to start all over, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the
world.
world.
They'll last me until I can afford to get another pair of sneakers again. Yeah, exactly.
For real, man, for real.
What about you? Does anyone ask you what would you grab? I mean,
Do you know what? People have been disobedient recently and asking me questions on my own podcast. Can you imagine?
Like, this is not what it's about. It's in the contract. I answer the question. So,
oh my days, house was burning down, one pair. Jeez, bro.
Oh, because those white cement 3s on your top shelf, I think I'd have to. If it was me and I was in your house, I would grab those.
See, this is the thing. I like, because it's my pair, right?
Yeah.
That pair is a used pair.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Nice. So I actually bought them used. So my although I love them,
yeah,
like, they have no real sentimental value for me, because they were broken in by someone else, and I just picked. I'm just looking after them until the next person gets them. Right? Yeah. It would be difficult to. I mean, it would be real tough. I have such a strong affinity to Kanye, but the Chicago is everything. Yeah, it's everything.
Timeless.
It's so hard. So hard. I think I'll probably have to go Chicago.
Yeah.
And I might be uncomfortable for a little while.
Yeah, but you're
but at least I'll look good.
I'd go down with the building. I'd be standing there going, "Oh, Chicago once. Oh no, bubbles. Oh no, wait, they got the pine greens. Oh, and are they the very top left? Are they the Air Max 1 Londons?
No, you're talking about these.
Yeah.
So these are the LV8 pack.
Right.
So my sort of, I don't want to say it's a logo. It's not a logo. It's just a picture of me holding 3 pairs of LV8s, and these are like when I first started making content. It was one of the first photos I took. So I kind of have this for sentimental reasons. Yeah. And I love the silhouette, and I love the little mini swoosh on this. It was just a really cool colorway. Yeah. Funnily enough, I copped the Londons. Yeah. Right. I actually copped the Londons, but I actually sold them one because I didn't get the right size.
Right. Yeah, that was one where when we were talking about little touches, or not a collaboration, but if a model's based on something.
Yeah, very cool.
That for me is a pair that almost is in grail status, but I think because of my age, I've got like 100 different grails, but that is there because I moved to London and I love London.
Yeah.
When they came out, and I just went, I've got to have it. So
that's
I still don't have them, but I'm keeping an eye out for like a second-hand pair because they're still.
No, I think you probably be able to get a decent second pair. Like I was at a convention. I was at Kicks and Coffee a couple of weeks ago, and I think somebody had the Amsterdam pair. Oh, and they came out around the same time, and I was just remembering like that was like, I think it was either just before lockdown or like just on the cusp of lockdown, but that was around the time like where like during lockdown was such a crazy time to be in the sneaker community, man. It was just bombarded with so many shoes and nowhere to wear them.
I know, that was the weird thing, right?
So many shoes coming to the house and literally nowhere to go.
Yeah. These look great. Straight on the shelf. Yeah,
just literally put them up, and that's just looking at them. It's like it was a guy.
I know,
but it just reminds me of a decent time, man. And even though obviously it was difficult in regards to what was going on in the world, but I mean, there was a lot going on in Kicks, man, and it ignited, I think, for a lot of people the love for shoes. Like, we had a lot of new sneakerheads come on. I would even say for me, even though I love Kicks from when I was young, I feel like I got reinvigorated around the time of lockdown as well.
Exactly, and I think one thing is it's almost like a delayed gratification. So you were able to buy these pairs and they had to sit on your shelf. There's nowhere to go. Then once events started to happen, you were just like rubbing your hands going, I can't believe my luck. I'm going to wear this pair, right? So like you mentioned with Kicks and Coffee, so seeing the Amsterdams there and that event was so good that I love seeing there was quite a few people with some heat. Like just sort of sporadically amongst the Jordans and whatever else, there was like one of the guys had, I think it was Sneakernomics, he had the Air Yeezy 2s on, I think. and he
Shout out
was
to Sneakernomics, man.
oh yeah,
He's literally the guy.
Unbelievable collection, and he had some Heineken dunks with him as well, and someone else had the chunky dunkies, and it's funny if I'm ever with someone at places like that where they don't know as much about sneakers, you can just go, that's about $2,000, that's about 10. Like, I can't believe he's actually wearing them. Like they look so cool on his feet. So, hats off to him. But and then at that event, I did undies a pair. I wore the King of Trainers LS
Yay! Oh, big up KOT, man. That is my guy, bro.
Just like talking details and stuff. Just so
I
good.
absolutely love the LS, man. Like his LS pair were like they're literally fantastic. And I flopped because at the time I missed out getting a pair. I need to get the
I won this pair.
You smashed it. Franklin is he's massive supporter.
Top man as well.
Yeah, massive supporter of Kicks Chronicles from early. I remember I spoke to a friend about starting the podcast, and they were like, "Oh, I recently just met this guy. They call him the King of Trainers." And I was like, "That's JD Sports. What are you talking about?" And he was like, "No. He was like, "No, it's an actual guy called the King of Trainers." And I remember they started doing some research. It's almost like when you're young and someone says, "Oh, have you seen that new car?" and you've not seen it, and then all of a sudden, right? It's everywhere. So I'm seeing them on socials, blah, blah, blah. I'll go to the shop. I think the shop was called Mr. Sneakers in Bow. I go to Mr. Sneakers in Bow, to try and sell a pair of shoes. Can't remember what pair it was, right? Literally as I walk in, he's there recording content. Like the King of Sneakers is there right in front of me, bro. And I was like, well, this is like complete. Like, I don't believe in fate, but I believe like God works in mysterious ways. And I needed to make a move. Because there's no way that this guy's on my feed. Someone's told me about him, but now he's right in front of me, and he's the King of Trainers. There's no way I can't talk to him. I literally just grabbed him for a second, like trying to not be rude or intimidating, because I've been in the past, like with my exuberance, right? My man, he was the loveliest guy. We spoke for a few minutes, like we exchanged details, man. And he was one of my first guests on the podcast, man. And man, he's been a supporter ever since, and I'm a supporter of his. So big up to Franklin Boateng, man, and he's doing it for the Ghana man as well, because I'm from Ghana as well.
Oh,
so nice. Man, there's a lot of crossover there, man. But very cool pair.
So that Boris
Becker and that
event, and talking about lockdown, I've still got pairs that I'm almost allocating to when I get invited to something or something like that. That's got to happen first, I think. Like I've got the Black Cement 3s from 2018, but what I did was actually bought my son a pair. So I just had a 1-year-old at the time. So then I bought my size, and then I didn't know the sizes at the time because I was a new parent. So I just bought, I thought, size 3, and I got them, but they're, or a size 13 or something. So they're kids ones, but they're still too big. So I'm like, do I save them until he's old enough to wear them? And then I went, I'm going to bring mine out when it's like, if I go to a Jordan event or another Nike event or something where I can wear them, but I've, what am I, 7 years in, 5 years in, whatever, I haven't worn them yet. 6 years in. So I'm just like, whereas I don't want to be that person who has pairs they don't wear. So I think it's like, now it's down to 2 pairs that I haven't worn, the EQTs and the Black Cement 3s, my only 2 on my shelf that I haven't worn.
That's a great question, actually. Like, of the pairs that you actually, like, I have to think, like, have I not worn any? I mean, I think I've worn pretty much all the shoes in my collection. There are pairs that I don't wear very much. Like, and there are pairs that I wear way more often now. Like, I've been struggling to keep the Sauconys off my feet. They're just everything I need. Because the thing is, like, bear with me, for those that are watching, I'm currently wearing the reddest Supreme hoodie you can literally find. Some might think I was affiliated with how red this thing is, but I'm not, please. But usually I'm in just very plain outfits, right? And wearing a shoe like this just works for me completely because I don't have to style anything to it. I don't have to think about what goes with it. I could just throw it on, and it's very, very comfortable. So yeah, man. I think I wear pretty much all of my pairs, but like more often than not, you're gonna find me in either the Sauconys or the Yeezys because of the comfort, man. I can't deny it. I can't deny it, man.
I know those wave runners there. The wave runners have to be one of the best.
Yeah, the wave runners is legitimately, for me, I'd probably say like top 5 Yeezy. Some people will say top Yeezy, but I have to include the Nike Yeezys in there, and I can't see these over the Yeezy 2s. I've got the Yeezy 2s number 1. And I used to say it was the Red Octobers, but now I'm like any of them actually.
Yeah,
I feel like I just like I the Yeezy 2 as a silhouette. I heard it's terribly uncomfortable though, but life, man, I'll make it work. That one will be a one where it'll just be like you were saying, like it'll literally be on the shelf, and if I get invited somewhere, I'll rock it for that evening, and then I'll put it back on the shelf. It would be,
exactly.
It would be that move. Exactly. I'm going to ask you another random question. So we're sort of working our way to the end of this, and you've been absolutely amazing. I'm going to ask you a question, right, that I refer to as Desert Island Kicks. Right, Desert Island Kicks. You may have heard this before.
Yeah.
Right, you are cast away on a desert island, and you don't know how you got there, but you do have 2 pair of kicks with you. What 2 pairs of kicks do you have with you, and why?
Now, my answer, so if anyone wants to go back and watch your back catalogue, John Francis's answer of, I'm not going to be able to top his answer of like
okay
a please combo sort of
because he broke my world when he said that.
He said it, you're just like, oh come on, no one's going to have as good an answer as that.
But he killed the game when he said that. So yeah, very, very cool, very smart. Well played, John Francis.
Well, I would love to have the AeroJams or AeroJets from like 92. I think probably because they were my first true love. And I think, if I'm going to see the rest of my life out in a desert island, I've got to have something like that with me, right? And they'll probably last a while. And then the Bacons, I think just comfort and good materials, and they're going to be comfy under feet when I'm walking laps of that island trying to find food.
I respect it.
Yeah,
I respect it. And obviously, in your pairs, you've got like enough nostalgia and enough reminding you of home to give you the energy and the strength to try and try and find a way back, try and find a way off the island, man. You're not gonna just succumb. You're not gonna just succumb to the circumstances that you find yourself in. You've got enough inspiration there to try and find a way back, man. So I love those pairs. I absolutely love those pairs. So, bro, what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna do some quick fires.
Nice one. Yeah.
With these, I have to be honest, no dilly dallying on these.
I know. Yeah, right.
But I was like, I don't know what to do. No dilly dallies on these. We have to be very strict, right? And as we're going through it, if there are any like answers that are a little bit wow, right, we may have to review those at the end, right?
Yeah,
we may have to review those at the end. But that being said, if you're ready, I'm ready.
Let's go.
And let's do this in 3, 2, 1. Big question. Number 1 question. Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
New Balance or Adidas?
New Balance.
New Balance or Saucony?
Saucony.
Can you wear Nike and Adidas together, yes or no?
Controversial, but yes.
Wow. We would definitely come back to that. What was your last sneakers win?
What was my last sneakers win? I think the low 11 low IE.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay, so what is your Jordan number? What's the silhouette you love the most?
Oh, probably that 8.
Okay, nice. YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok?
Instagram.
Sneakers, Kicks, or Creps?
Sneakers.
Spotify or Apple?
Spotify. Favorite
collaboration?
Dave's Quality Meat.
Love it. Love it. Pause that. All right. Vans or Converse?
Oh, Converse, easy.
Laces or slip-ons?
Laces,
Default laces, or do you pattern your laces?
default.
Custom designs or factory settings?
Factory settings.
Retro or innovation?
Oh, retro.
That's a good one. Flip-flops or sliders?
Flip-flops.
Socks or barefoot?
Barefoot.
I respect it. I like a little barefoot as well.
Yeah.
Comfort or style?
Comfort.
Fresh and clean or beaten and battered?
Fresh and clean.
Washing machine or hand wash your picks?
Hand wash, man.
Good lad. Good lad. Lows, mids, or highs?
Oh, lows.
Respect it. And lastly, triple blacks or white on whites?
White on whites.
Congratulations, you've come to the end of... Oh, but I was going to clap, but then I remembered. Let me just go back.
Yeah.
I asked you a question. Can you wear Nike and Adidas together, yes or no? And you said controversially, acknowledging the controversy in your answer, you still said yes. Can you explain?
Reason number one, I would like it to be more common. So
come on.
I used to have a bunch of Nike t-shirts, and then I'd go to leave the house and I'd grab my New Balance, and then I'd go, oh, actually I better change my t-shirt. Like whereas growing up, you would wear a Nike t-shirt, Adidas tracksuit pants, and New Balance sneakers or something, and no one would
wear your best stuff. Yeah, it's true. Whereas, I get you.
I know it looks sharper if you have a Nike t-shirt and Nike sneakers or something. So then I went, well, I have to start getting some other stuff like a New Balance t-shirt or here or there or Converse one to wear with my Converse. So New Balance, and then I was just like, this is ridiculous. I'll just get plain t-shirts, and then so I'm trying to get like Champion or Supreme or something where I go, that will go with any sneaker. Right?
Yeah.
So, I think I would just go, oh, there's too much stress there. I'd rather just be able to wear whatever with whatever. Which is why I love this. This is my logo on this jumper. So this goes with anything, right? So
do you sell those, by the way?
No, but it's nice that you asked, because a few people have seen the logo and really liked it, and then they went, mate, put that on a tote bag or put it on a t-shirt.
Bro, I'll buy one
and get it out there.
I'll absolutely buy one.
Yeah,
if you
I'll have to get that store online.
Yeah. Figure it out, man. I'll definitely. Yeah, it's a very, very cool logo, man. But yeah, thanks. I hear what you're saying. Did you have any more in terms of your defense of your answer, or was that your main? Point of argument?
I think that's my thing. I would like to be more relaxed about doing it, but even I feel like I fall into the trap of going, you can't mix brands. So
very tough.
Because even I know if I see someone and they've got mixed brands on, I think, oh, that doesn't look good. But I think, I shouldn't think that people are wearing what they've got,
It's a constant battle, bro. I get it though. I actually understand, and I appreciate your honesty in that, right? Yeah. As much as I'm judging your response to the question, right? Yeah. I completely agree with a lot of what you just said. Like, I feel like I was getting annoyed, and therefore I had to start sort of veering off to like Uniqlo and H&M and Supreme and brands that don't make kicks in order for me to just feel cool with wearing anything, because it was just becoming annoying. But the truth is, right, I didn't make these rules, man. I just live by them, bro.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, bro. You just have to do what you have to do, because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Right?
Exactly.
You'll fall for anything, bro. We got to stand for something.
Yeah,
Kieran, bro, we've got to stand for something.
I know. You worded it perfectly then when you said, "What you say? I didn't make the rule, but
I live by them.
I live by them.
I've got to live by them, bro.
That's exactly right. I didn't make the rule. You can't mix brands, but it seems to be the rule. So here we are.
And it's annoying, and I appreciate the annoyance. I appreciate it because I feel it myself.
Yeah.
You get me? But bro, you gotta make it happen, man. You gotta make it happen, man. Like, but some of these kids out here are brazy with it. Some of these kids out here are rocking full Adidas tracksuits with Air Force Ones. Yeah. And it should never be done. Like that's way too far. I feel like some of the things you're talking about are a little bit more like, oh, do you know what? Like
almost like nuanced. Like
yeah. That's okay. Bro, these guys are like, they're shameless with it.
Yeah.
They're shameless with it. Yeah. Like, not even hiding it. No shame whatsoever. Yeah. So no, I can't abide by those kinds of things, man. I have to pull it out when I see it, or secretly judge. Either way, I mean, because on the day, bro, like the last thing I'm gonna ask you is about the word sneakerhead. It gets banded about so much. We've mentioned it a couple of times, even during this podcast, man. What does it mean to you?
The term sneakerhead.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, classically, it's just someone that's into sneakers. So I love, even if I chat to another parent or something and they just go, oh, I like sneakers. They don't know that much about it. But I go, well, yeah, I'd say you're a sneakerhead. It's just they're as much of a sneakerhead as you or me. It's just that they're not sort of diving deep into that because they might have 100 other interests. And I go, well, this is my main interest. This is what I love. This is why I love it. And then I love that those people then come to people like us and they go, I was thinking of getting this pair. And, you know, that's when I really started to feel like a real sneakerhead, was when someone might message me on Instagram and go, I was thinking of just a friend from Australia or something. And they go, you know, I know you're into sneakers. What do you think of this pair? Or I was thinking of getting these. Are these too ugly? Or I want to get these, but they cost too much. They're similar pairs. Like, I love that stuff, and it's good because I love doing it. I love people coming to me for that. So I think that's when you can really tell someone is like the true sneakerhead, in a way that they really they love it. Like that they'll, like we said at the start of the podcast, you could wear Panda Dunks or something, and I'll go, great, good, you love them. I reckon they're a really good sneaker. That's obviously why they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So I love that person loves it, and I think I would still consider myself a sneakerhead, even if you like pairs that not everyone else does, or you know, you don't have to have an amazing knowledge. You just have to like sneakers, and you can be a sneakerhead.
I mean, you absolutely put it perfectly. With that being said, Kieran Coyle, are you a sneakerhead?
Yes. Loud and clear into the mic.
Absolutely. Kicks Chronicles certified.
Yeah.
Kieran Coyle is definitely a sneakerhead, bro. Like, for you to be able to talk with me for as long as we've been talking, and have done the amazing work that you've done for the culture as well, in being able to sort of break down some of the history and just giving people a way to understand more about it. You're like part of the tool, but you're part of the toolkit we need in order to understand these kicks that we love, and it's an amazing thing. So I appreciate you being on the podcast, my bro. It's been amazing having you. This has been your Kicks Chronicles, man. I want you to let the millions and millions of people that are going to watch this, I want you to let them know what you've got going on, how they can get involved, how they can support, bro.
Thanks, man. So allthatsneaks.com is my website. So I write, as we talked about earlier, I write for all sorts of different brands and everything. And most recently writing for Urban Syndicate. They're urbansyndicate.co.uk. So some of my pieces will be turning up on there. And yeah, just have a read. Let me know what you think, good or bad. Just, give me a follow at All That Sneaks. We'll start discussions, talk about stuff. Just, yeah. And thanks so much for having me on the pod, man. It's been a pleasure. I literally feel like I've been talking for 5 minutes. Like it goes so quick.
Yeah, I think most people tend to feel like that. But I mean, it's the pleasure's all mine, bro. Absolutely. I may have alluded to it earlier, but like, I don't take anything for granted. I don't have the biggest platform in the world. I'm not like Joe LaPuma or anyone like that. Yeah. I got to really go out and work to get people to come on, man. Some people see the value, some people see the vision, and some people aren't really convinced. And anybody that really like vibes with me, I vibe with them, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we're in the same boat. We're just out here trying to be great and trying to do something that we love and are passionate about. And when I see that in someone, man, I could do nothing but encourage it and support it, bro.
Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to say about this podcast. Is obviously I've been listening to it. Like you said earlier, I contacted you to ask to come on. So I'd been listening to it anyway. And that's exactly what it is. You can tell when people have a love for the culture and a love for the history and a love for design and all of that, and talking and meeting people and having open conversations about these things and these subjects, like people that are like-minded and open-minded like this, you could spend all day with them. Like, you know what I mean? So,
man.
On a podcast is just, music to my ears.
Yeah, this is my happy place, bro. Like, being able to speak to people like you Absolutely love it. And people, you might be watching this, you might be listening to the podcast, and if you are, I appreciate you. But if you do want to come on the podcast, feel free to reach out. Like Kieran reached out, you get me?
Yeah, here I
And
am.
and here he is. You get me? Like, so, and the thing is, obviously, I don't want no weirdos, but it's
Not up to me. I'm the last one.
That's the last window.
Yeah.
The window quote is filled up. Like, but it is what it is, though. Like, honestly, like, I'm for the people. Like, the podcast is for the people. Like, there's no airs or graces. You don't have to have 1 million followers in order for me to want to have a chat with you. But if you want the chat, then we can have the chat. And it's really that simple. If we can get things together, man, like we have today. But yeah, it's been an absolutely amazing treat being able to speak to you guys. Make sure to follow him. What's your social again? One more time.
All that sneaks.
All that sneaks on Instagram. People, go and light him up. You get me? Absolutely amazing. And if you see any of his articles anywhere, just holler at him and let him know you had a good read, or tell him what you think, good, bad, or indifferent. You get me?
Yeah.
That being said, when it comes to this podcast, even if it's good, bad, or indifferent, as I said, I'm only interested in 5-star reviews. So whatever you want to say it, but under a 5-star review.
Yeah.
You get me? Only the positive. You get me? I'm only interested in good criticism. Not interested in nothing else. You get me? But on the real though, I really appreciate it. Guys, keep on supporting this podcast, and we'll keep on reaching out to the community, shining a light on the people that really should have a voice, that maybe haven't had a voice in the past, and continue to create this dope content. You get me? With all of that being said, I've been your boy ProZECH. Our guest this week has been the one and only Kieran Coyle. You get me? From All That Sneaks. People, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, rate, review, do all of the great things that you should and ought to be doing to support the podcast and your boy. And with all of that being said, thank you once again for joining us. And until I see you, man, down the roads, everybody stay blessed. Thank you for listening to this episode of Kicks Chronicles. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, rate, review, and all that good stuff. And remember, full video version is available on YouTube, audio versions available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.